Dear fellow truth seekers, thank you and welcome for visiting my channel, MythoReligio. MythoReligio is a series of books about religious comparison studies between the stories in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism and Buddhism, directly from their sacred books and world mythologies, hence the name MythoReligio. The purpose is to retrace the prehistory of humanity, since I am not fully satisfied with either the explanations from the point of view of creationists nor evolutionists. There are so many missing links in both explanations. If you feel the same, then you are on the right channel. In this book series, I will also analyze about the prehistory of humanity from the archaeological records, modern scientific point of view, and other alternative theories, such as the ancient alien theories and Atlantis or Lemuria legends. After thorough research of circa 30 years, I recognize many similarities between all religious stories and even mythologies, and surprisingly, some of them are in accordance or even beyond modern science that have been proven as correct. Thus, I came to the conclusion that all religions must have come from the same source. And all these religious stories and mythologies, although heavily jumbled up, are actually telling one mega story, the true prehistory of our common ancestors. This mega story is quite different than what we have been told to believe and will truly blow your mind, as it is more fascinating than our imagination. If you have watched the earlier videos in this channel, I believe you can see some of the similarities too. If you haven't and you truly want to do a religious comparative study, I suggest that you do so. The best way to do a comprehensive religious study via this channel is by watching the videos starting from number 1 and continue until this present video and so on. That way you will see a clear pattern. For deeper analysis that I cannot share in this platform due to its sensitive nature that leads to the above conclusion, kindly read the books that are available in ebook format that can be found in my website www.mythoreligio.com or the physical books at Amazon in color or black and white version. Adam, circa 4000 BCE. On the sixth day, Adam was made out of dust. He was created after the image of God. He lived in a garden on the east called Eden. In this garden there was every kind of trees that were pleasant to the sight and good for food. In the middle of the garden was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God allowed Adam to eat from all the trees of the garden except from the tree of the good and evil, for he would die if he did. There was a river in Eden that parted into 4 heads. One encompassed Havilah, one encompassed Ethiopia, one went to Assyria, and the last one was Euphrates. Note: if we trace the location to our today's map, some biblical scholars believe that the biblical Garden of Eden was somewhere around modern Iraq. Adam named all the creatures in the garden. Adam was alone, so God caused him to sleep. While he was sleeping, God took one of his ribs and made a woman out of it. This being was called a woman because she was taken out of a man. Adam and his wife lived in the garden nakedly, but they were not ashamed. His wife was named Eve, which means the mother of all living. The serpent seduced Adam's wife to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, saying that instead of dying they would be like God, knowing good and evil. Eve ate it and gave it to Adam. Then their eyes opened and realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves and made themselves aprons. Then they heard the voice of God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of God among the trees of the garden. God called Adam and said to him, "Where are you?" And Adam said, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree whereof I commanded you that you should not eat?" Adam replied that he ate the fruit because his wife made him. So God cursed the serpent that it shall walk on its belly and eat dust for the rest of its life. And God placed enmity between snakes and human. Human would bruise snakes, and snakes would bruise the human's heel. God cursed women that in sorrow they would give birth to their children, and men would rule over them. While he cursed men that in sweat would men work for his daily bread. After that, God made them coats of skins for clothing. Ever since men knew what was good and evil. And God sent them out of Eden and placed cherubims, angels, and a flaming sword to keep away of the tree of life. Cain and Abel. Adam and Eve had many sons and daughters. However, only 3 sons' names were mentioned in the Bible. The first son was Cain. He was a tiller of the ground. The second son was Abel, who was a keeper of sheep. One day Cain offered fruit of the ground to God, while Abel offered the firstling of his flock and the fat thereof. God had respect for Abel and his offering, i.e. meat, but not for Cain's, i.e. vegetables. Cain got angry and slew Abel. God heard the voice of Abel's blood crying from the ground, and thus he cursed Cain, who then went out from his presence and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. After that, Eve gave birth to another son who was named Seth to replace Abel. Meanwhile, Cain got married and built a city. Note, it is not explained to whom Cain got married because Adam's family was supposed to be the first family on the earth. Cain could have not married one of his younger sisters, since he was supposed to be the only one expelled from his family's circle and dwelt in Nod. Adam died when he was 930 years old. Adam's direct male descendants also had very long lives. This is the end of the story. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next week.